Hello and welcome along once more to another edition of the Irish Rally Podcast, live here on Facebook and on YouTube for the next hour or so. And we have a very special programme lined up for you this evening. In about 5 or 10 minutes' time, we're going to be chatting to the Modified Buckos again. Went down a tree after West Cork. So very, very shortly, we'll be chatting with Eddie Doherty, Kevin Eves, Gary Kiernan, and Jason Black. Might be a little bit behind schedule, but we'll hear with us on, at some stage as well. We're going to start off with our class winners from Killarney, and then we're going to go through the Mayday Rally, and then we are going to play out an interview that Tony Kelly did with Callum Devine, of course, who won the Rally of the Lakes, and Rob Duggan also spoke with Tony after the event because it was just an incredible drive, and I suppose we had to mark that. He gave Callum a hell of a go, and Rob Barrable very much in the mix there as well. But before we go any further, I think the best place to start is with some great news. So James Fulton is going to be doing WRC Portugal alongside Chris Meek, and it's just fabulous news. The best thing I've seen today, without a doubt. And we wish James and Chris the very best luck on WRC Portugal. I think they're in the WRC 2 category, and it's just really, really good to see James back in light of recent events. So we are going to start with Killarney, as we said, and the class winners, starting with Class 9, Conor Lappin taking that. Class 10, Tom O'Sullivan. 11F, Jason Farrell and Donna Crowley. Mark O'Leary and Andrew Cronin, and Jack Brunton and Jack Kelly. 11R, Kenneth Cork and Sean Hegarty. Shane Doyle and William Kelleher. And third there, Mike Nelligan and John Hurley. Class 12, Sean Moynihan and Pádraig O'Donovan. Now, Sean Moynihan 14th overall as well, which was a serious drive. Second there, Raymond O'Neill and Jason O'Connor, and Morris Kennelly and Owen Mulvihill third. Class 13 honours, John McCarthy, 10th overall and taking the Class 13 win. Unbelievable stuff. Brian Lavelle and Pierce O'Callaghan second. I am pronouncing that Arsways. Beg your pardon. I was actually only telling someone today the Irish for about 14 or 15 years in school and probably have more words of French, and pardon that as well when it does come out every now and then. Third there, Dave Slattery and Dennis Coffey. Class 14 honours going to Mr. Kiernan, who we chat to very shortly. Mr. Doherty second there, and John O'Dugan third. Class 20 going to Frank Rafferty and Chloe Kelly. John Hickey and Michelle Hickey second there, and Hugh Jeffries and Arvina Jeffries in third. The Class 22 honours going to Pat Price and Andy Kern. Keith Naughton, Damien Murphy second. Dermot Hassett and Eve Hassett third. Class 24, Alan Ring and Adrian Deasy, followed by Dennis Moynihan, Martin O'Brien, and John O'Donnell and Aidan Friel. The RC2 class, obviously the overall, the 1, 2, 3, Callum Devine, Noel O'Sullivan, Rob Barrable, Gordon Noble, and Josh Moffat, Andy Hayes. Then you have Endo O'Brien, Declan Boyle, and James Ford in the 1, 2, 3. RC3 then, James Boland and John McKay. RC4, Ian Lloyd and Simon Williams, Kyle McBride and Liam McIntyre. Now that's worthy of a shout as well. So 19th and 20th overall, and only a second and a half, I think, between them in the end. Gavin Shield and Ken Blanche, who we spoke to last week, taking the RC5. Class 17 in Historics going to Brendan O'Mahony. Class 18 there, Duncan Williams and Guy Weaver, and they're just in incredible form this year. Gareth Bevan second there with David Evans and Adrian Evans and Jordan Jones third. Class 19 honours going to Will Onions and Dave Williams. Second there, Luke McCarthy and our good friend Brian Duggan, and Michael Cullen and Sean Hassett third there. Junior category, Darragh Donovan taking that with Michael White by 1 minute and 2 seconds ahead of Evan McAvoy and Kieran O'Sullivan, Colin McDade and Damien Sheridan third. So we will move across to the Jennings Fuels Mayday Stages Rally, and winning that overall, of course, Aaron McLaughlin with Darren Kern, Johnny Leonard and Ryan Leonard second, Gareth Sayers, Garrett Gilchrist third. Moving swiftly downwards towards the class honours there. So Class 1, Hugh McQuaid and Darren McQuaid. Class 2, Martin Collins, Martin McPhillips. Class 3, Ryan McCanny, Alana Ward. Class 4, Garrett Deasy, Dean Kyle. Class 5, Quinton Park and Jensen Park. Class 6 then going to Paul Hurtle and Raymond Scott. Class 7, Barry Morris and Jarlath Kelly. Class 8, Mark Preston and Anthony Kearns. Class 9, Damien O'Hagan. Class 10, Gary Jennings. And Class 11, of course, Aaron McLaughlin. So, as we said, a stellar lineup. We conclude the programme with a feature chat with Dave Harrigan as well, of the Harrigan Images. A very interesting one, and Dave is going to join us live here on the programme this evening. So, as we said, eagerly awaiting backstage, Eddie Doherty, Kevin Eves, Jason Black, Gary Kiernan. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Not too bad.
Good.
But I'd say me and Eddie are better formed than the other two boys.
Somehow, yeah, I'd say so.
Probably the best place to start. And lads, I did say off air, I have no problem stepping backstage now and leaving the 4E here by yourselves. How would you actually feel about that for 2 or 3 minutes?
That'd end up in a row, I'd say, very easily.
Will we trial it? I wonder. Do you know what? I'll leave it open to the public, right? I will stay here for a minute or two, and I'll just see what the public says. So send us in a comment. Do you want to see the 4 boys on the screen by themselves there? And I'd gladly step away, no problem. Grab the popcorn here and look out for the crack. Well, lads, look, I believe the crack was still very good, albeit disappointing for Kevin and Jason in the end on Sunday night. But Gary and Eddie, obviously, you're in a little bit better form, but it doesn't stop the crack from being had. And I believe it was good down there Sunday night, yeah?
Okay, now, rough enough now. Always good. Most of them I usually come home from the lorry, just get up into the lorry and go home, but I stayed for it, so that's the choice.
Obviously helped with the bank holiday too, lads, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, like without a doubt. I'd say there was a lot of sick heads coming out of Clarny on Monday morning.
Yeah.
I had to show Jason and Kevin what they could have
had. Well, Kevin, Jason, have you anything to say?
No, I've told it all Sunday night.
But you can share it with us as well, sir. We're all ears here. Yeah, but listen, guys, I suppose we'll keep it some way serious for a second, right? It was a hell of a battle, and I mean, it's not unusual to see you guys cropping up in the top 10 and even creeping into the top 5 occasionally. But Gary, I think you said it at one stage during day 2 there. If you had to find weather for the 2 days solid, it would have been just mental altogether. But having said that, like the times that you boys were putting in was still phenomenal considering how changeable the conditions were like.
Yeah, it was a tough weekend. I was just going through the day looking at my tyre bill. I used every compound attire from a full wet to the hardest tyre possible. I used every compound attire over the weekend in Killarney. I don't think the other bike maybe as bad as a full wet, but I made that choice for Sunday morning's run of the Gap. Right choice, I just didn't go fast enough.
I hope road for it. He had a trophy up the road for it. I probably used the amount of tires and got nothing.
I was thinking the
same. It just seemed to be an absolute nightmare, lads, for all of you. Eddie, I'll bring you on this. Like, I mean, sure, I know the cliche out there is that it is a lottery, but it literally was a lottery the other day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely was. Like Killarney, especially when you go down to Castletown Bear, it throws everyone at the man and machinery. There's so much that can go wrong and so much that can go right as well at the same time. I think if you click with them stages, as like what Kevin done there, in places like Cod's Head, like it works. But and then if it goes wrong, it can go wrong. But as what Gary said, though, the changeable conditions, and I think I was the same. The only tire I didn't use was a wet, but it really did throw everyone at us all.
Yeah. And I suppose from your point of view, Eddie, like just to stick with you here for a second, it's mad that you seem to go so well down there on what is probably one of the most complex ones that you'll get. Like they are very, very challenging stages. What is it about Killarney that maybe gives you a bit more of a, I won't say an advantage, but a bit more of a draw and a bit more of a pep in your step?
Probably Colin O'Donoghue probably has a lot to answer for that one. I suppose of like Killarney, I've probably done it over the last 3 or 4 years, and it's always one, like for me, probably what part of the country I'm in with Waterford or South Kilkenny, it's probably like the Donegal of like for us really. So it's always one we want to really go well in. And to be honest, the stages are very good as well at the same time. Bit of everything in them, and I suppose I love the good cut at the Gap as well at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Kevin, you're not too shabby down there either.
I suppose we're there enough times now. It'd be bad if we weren't.
Yeah, but still, like, I mean, at one stage you were lying 5th overall, I think. And Jason, you weren't too far behind. I just think it's incredible. Some lads will say, sure, the power that's in them. Yeah, but still, like, I mean, it's not 4-wheel drive at the same time. But Jason, the 2.5, you really seem to be after getting to grips with it. And we had a look at the in-car over our groom, and I think there's a little clip from Cod's Head there as well. What have you noticed over the past, I suppose, few events that's been a little bit different? And why do you think the form was pretty good up to maybe stage 13 at the weekend?
I suppose nothing really. I've just been building it up. Decided at the start of the year I wasn't going to do anything too stupid at the start of the year and make mistakes and land ahead somewhere and just build up my pace from thing. I suppose coming off from a high in the circuit, a good racing Kevin there, and I suppose just went at it in stage 1 and weren't too far away.
And Gary, the detail in the notes for all the boys is incredible. Looking at that our groom stage, and there is literally no room for error. I know we say it the whole time. You can't miss a note, but particularly there, it has drastic consequences. Like, and I mean, everyone has to be on song. Like, it's a challenging event.
Yeah, we come out at the end of it, and I go to John that was sitting with me. I'm glad I'm on this end of the car, not your end. And he took it as an insult that what sure wasn't that dangerous. But I said I wouldn't like trying to call the notes for it. It's just non-stop from start to finish, no breather. It's just
right. It's the hardest stage in the country, in my opinion, on navigator and driver.
Yeah, it's just the level of detail. Like, and Eddie, I suppose you're perfectly placed to answer this because I don't know. Did you get a run over some of those in particular? But there's a lot of them that would have overlapped from the time you were sitting in with Colin and driving them. So, is it harder to call notes for them or to drive them?
I'd say call notes. Definitely our groom and I. The driving is probably a small bit easier, I think. But look, it's just as bad for both in certain instances as well. At the same time, the heat, like in fairness, there was a lot of heat down there as well, like throughout the weekend as well. So, like a lot of fitness comes into a long day on Saturday, and the drive back to Clarny as well at the same time. So it's a long rally as well.
Yeah, you want to be drinking plenty of Red Bull and smoking plenty of fags, like.
Fitness end wouldn't be
like that's Kiernan down.
Yeah, that wouldn't be that high with me now, or either with Eves up there, the big sleep heading them.
I pushed my yokel up with the lift Jason's car up one time, and I think it was a tactic to get us all tired, get in the Ballock Beamer for their choke.
I was a bit closer in the second run. I was doing that. So.
that was the strength and conditioning. But you're meant to do that before the rally, lads, not during it, like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jason, what was it actually that went on your yoke in the end?
The prop shaft.
Feck.
So it did. So always one of them things. The more power need to be changed more often.
Yeah.
I've never had an issue with that in all my time, but now I suppose it's something that needs to be changed more often.
Yeah.
So.
And Kev, was stage 14? Everything went pear shaped for you, was it?
I got right through the stage, and she actually just pushed an oil seal out and dumped all the oil, and that kind of ended the party. We actually thought the car was nearly on. Well, I suppose it could have been, but we kind of were getting close to the end. Smoke started to come in, and we just kind of got out through the finish line and kind of way down, but we just couldn't get it sorted. By the time we got that down to the off the stage and towed back in, and the boys got at it, it just didn't work out for us. So unfortunate one.
Yeah. Did you give him a bit of a spin back in, Gar, did you, or was that all pub talk?
No, that was Saturday. We were trying to.
All right.
I was got the 5-second jump on you, Gary.
Yeah. Oh, why? Yeah, we never brought that one up, Evan.
You just lost the other 5, Jason.
Yeah.
Well, this was Saturday evening last day. Kim McAlogue, Kevin had lost his clutch or pulled up doing tyre pressures, but then we had to try and push the car up the hill to start. And we were pushing. There must have been 7 or 8 of us trying to push it, but we couldn't get enough speed on the uphill to get it going because he was trying to start in first. And then Melly goes, "Oh, we're going to have to push it. Gary, will you push us?" I said, "I don't give a shite. Yeah, no bother." But I came driving up then and gave him a wee nudge, and he was trying to go, and that wasn't working. So I just lifted my foot of the clutch in first gear, and I think it drove up on top of his back bumper and dozed him up the road, and away he went in.
Very cool.
Oh, lads, I you know what, we really should do a kind of a drive to survive type thing with G-Bikes, but just that modified section. I'd say the stuff you'd have to hear it after 9 o'clock anyway, and the stuff you'd see. But the camaraderie, we said it before, it's just unbelievable. The buzz the G-Bikes do have and the crack and all. But I suppose the endeavour to keep each other going is the big thing. And I think that's not just modified. It's probably unfair for me to pigeonhole that to modifieds. But you have that bond, like, in fairness to you. You know what I mean?
Or probably broke down more than anybody else. That's probably why. All the time.
Yeah.
Nah, I think it was always that way. How you try and get towed, and sure, even I suppose where we were running on Saturday evening, I think Declan, some of the boys behind us too, and they were trying to tow us, or Declan Boyle or that. So, nah, hey, I think it's just the way of it. Everybody tries to stay going as long as they can. But it was funny. I thought I wasn't even going to get going up the hill for Gary. Pushed me real nice and gentle, and I says, "Oh, jeez, she'll not go now." Next thing I kind of ready to get out, and I thought the back window coming round me and her, hey, got rammed up the hill then.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It locked
Brilliant.
up against the bill for the parts at the front of my yoke. Then he had the cheek in Park Farmer to go, "Hey, Kiernan, you owe me a fucking back bumper."
Back panel stove to her, never mind the back bumper.
I hear they're calling it 50-50, lads. Very good. But I suppose, you know, you had a fair bit of road mileage back in, didn't you? After stage 8, and traffic wouldn't have helped the course as well.
Yeah, well, we're in the back way.
Yeah. How do you actually kind of manage that? Does it not drive you mad when when you have a clatter of traffic and maybe not only that, but lads out for a Sunday drive of a Saturday and you're trying to get back in? Like, I know there's allowances for time. Must be some pain in the hole though as well if there is any sort of stage mileage or road mileage, I should say. Sorry.
Well, for us, anyway, we stopped for 2.99s on the way back on Saturday evening, so we didn't find it too bad. But I'd say for Kevin was probably a different story.
I think the club down in Clarny, I have to give them that too. Like, I think down any road or a lot of the rallying, I suppose nobody really gets too fretted if there's traffic and you're trying to get back to Park Fermy. You wouldn't be out sprinting down the road thinking you're going to get a penalty for being a minute late, you know. So I think that's the good thing about home, or kind of down there, everybody's happy to see you go on time. So bad. It'd be more you're panicking back to service. You know, your service time's going to be short, so you're in a tear then.
Yeah. The other thing, Jason, I suppose that we probably should pay due compliments for is closing off a stage for one run is not an easy thing to do. Like, and that did happen, of course, on the Saturday. So look, it's not always straightforward to make that happen, but when you see that, you know you've got good people canvassing, and obviously the public are welcoming for the most part of it anyway. When you can do that, like.
Yeah, for sure. Probably didn't go in our favour right enough. The boys just wiped me on that last one, but yeah, it's a hard work for all the men, all the officials and everyone that puts all that hard work into getting that stage running for us. Like, it's first class, so it is. And to be fair, we didn't have many hold-ups now at the weekend. I thought it was a very well-run event. All in Clarny Motor Club did a great job.
Yeah, you all happy enough with everything, lads? So sure, this is the place to voice of the course. We don't have Nestor here tonight. You're probably lucky actually after the last night, but I did ask him to come on and he ghosted me here. So I don't know what went on, but happy enough with how the whole thing went, lads. All of you, yeah.
Yeah, very well run.
Clarny's always
definitely,
got
good stuff. And sure, look.
Oh, hey, like I know I heard that's one thing I will say. Like, say going, some people maybe said something about the road miles, but see going down to Cod's Head and Ardgroom, like I think Cod's Head's probably the best stage in the country. Like, see breaking Clarny up and branching down there. I know the remote service might be a bit of hard work, but hey, it's worth every mile of it. Hey?
Yeah, definitely,
for sure.
Yeah, so one of those times you'd be happy enough to clock in the road mileage. Yeah.
They are the best.
Yeah. What did you say at the thing? You'd go down there a couple of times a year, you know, like, you know, it is class. Like.
Yeah. Killarney can nearly hold an hour single day event just out in Cod's Head and Ardgroom. Like, would be some rally.
Yeah.
And so if I was to ask you guys, and Gary, I'll start with you, like, what would be your favourite stage down there if the gun was put to the head?
Cod's Head, Ardgroom is hard to pick. Both of them are just unreal. The work. But speed in Cod's Head, even though we got one on it, we'll just have to give him that one.
Yeah, Eddie.
For me, it'd have to be the Gap. I had no power steering for Cod's Head or Ardgroom, so it wasn't really a pleasant experience for me. But definitely be the Gap.
Yeah, Kevin.
Oh, Cod's Head, I think. Like our group's class, but I think the speed in Cod's Head too, with all that flowy stuff's just savage.
And Jason?
Oh, Cod's Head for sure. That's my favourite stage in the country. That's why I was a bit disappointed myself, as Gary said, whenever Kevin cleaned us on it. But as he said, up there fast, flowy stuff over them jumps and stuff in the middle, like it is unreal.
That's class.
Yeah. I look, they'd easily you'd easily make a 3-day event out of that, because if your other stages didn't run this year that are fucking class as well. Like, it's mad the array of stages that they have there that they can put on, I suppose. But I think from a spectator point of view, I've never seen that like being up on the top of Healy Pass the other day, where you can literally see 3 or 4 cars at the one time. It is epic stuff, and you can see where lads are gaining, where lads are dropping off. And the other thing you can see quite clearly, well, the irony is you can see quite clearly, but that's the fog and the mist coming in and how quickly it actually happens. It's awesome, but it's obviously not as awesome to drive as it is to look at then, judging by E-guys, is it?
No, it struggled. For the first run, I think Healy's Pass, I think it was dry the whole way to the top, and then the other end, the whole way down through all the hairpins, was all wet and slippy, and maybe one end of it bone dry and the next half of the stage wet. Maybe like not full wet, but a lot of it wet.
Yeah. Sure, look, boys, there's a heap of stuff we could chat about, and I think we're going to have to make this segment a regular thing. Probably a little bit more watered down tonight than what was Sunday night, I would say, below, but we'll definitely make this a regular thing. Look, 6th overall, Gary, and taking the modified, and Eddie 7th overall, 2nd in class. And lads, do you know what? It was very nearly years as well. It was some battle, very, very enjoyable. All I can do is take my hat off and say fair play to the whole lot, yous, and roll on Donegal, I suppose. Cavan in between though, Gary.
Yeah, maybe Cavan and Portlaoise, should say.
Yeah. Actually, sorry, before we let you go, what's the crack with this R5?
Jeez, I knew you were going to bring this up.
Ash, we couldn't let you go without mentioning it.
It was just a notion. I took a notion. Our sponsor, mine, was at there, and I knew the car was a good car. The bike that runs my Oak CMC Motorsport had been through it. I drove it before in Bana, and I said I'd just go for it. It was intention to go to gravel, maybe the back end of the gravel championship, but I'll bring it for a run to Cavan and see what I think, and then back in the escort for Portlaoise and Donegal to try and not white again, Cavan.
And when you see, I'm laughing at the reactions there on the other side. When you see what Rob Duggan did the other day, Gary, you've obviously made your indications fairly clear that you'll take a plunge. You wouldn't have bought otherwise, as you. But the rest of you guys, when you see what Rob is doing, is there a temptation or a lure there at all? Eddie, I'll start with you and I'll finish up on this one.
Yeah, I suppose everyone would like a shot in an R5 car at some stage throughout their time. But like for me at the moment, it's definitely when things are going kind of well with the modified, I'd like to stick with it and try to finish out the year with it. But definitely down the future, I'd definitely like to try it like at some stage.
Kev?
Oh, definitely. Hey, I definitely like to do it before the old edge wears off me. But hey, it's just the reality of hey, we have 3 cars in our house racing, and
yeah,
I had to buy something like you go buy a Polo or something top of the thing to actually try and race the boys. Like it's just, Jesus, the money's just crazy. So, but hopefully, hey, another year or two, we might try and get scratched into it some way.
Jason?
Yeah, it would be great, but as he says, the money's the biggest thing, I suppose, and the biggest factor. So we'll have to stick with what we have for a while. I have drove them in some of the Billy Coleman tests years ago, and there's some machines like they're unreal. Like it would be class to take one for a test over a stage somewhere even, but maybe sometime.
I'd nearly let them drive it Saturday in Enniskillen, but then they mightn't have much left. The boys breaking a lot of stuff. If I let Eves and Black, there'd be nothing left of it for Cavan.
You're
very good.
Okay.
Or somebody to get into it, I have.
Yeah, Jason, what you say there? Sorry, we didn't catch that.
I said Gary's fun breaking stuff, plenty of stuff last year. So he was.
That's very good. What's that, Gar?
This year's not over either.
Yeah. Lads, look, we'll leave it at that. Thanks a million for jumping on as always, and well done again the weekend. All right.
Cheers.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Say
Thanks.
bye to Gary, Jason, Eddie, and Kevin. And we have a few comments coming in. PJ Dowd, my goal in life is to finish Cod's Head stage someday. Come on, PJ. And a few more comments coming in. Han Steady Eddie, obviously for Mr. Doherty there. As we said, a little bit later on, we will be chatting with Dave Harrigan, but Tony Kelly's been busy the last couple of days as well. We've 2 interviews to play out. The first one we're going to hear is Rob Duggan and her good self.
Welcome back to the Irish Rally podcast. Again, thanks a million for being here. What a weekend just passed.
Yeah, what a weekend is right. A bit of a roller coaster from the word go, especially right to the finish. But yeah, class weekend all around.
I mean, for you to come back from Australia, to not be in an R5 in years, like, it must just have been the most phenomenal weekend for you. You know, the pace was absolutely unbelievable. You must be seriously proud of the effort you've put in over the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Look, we said it from the word go that, look, we were just going there to enjoy ourselves and just take what we can, drive the R5 as quick as we could, and whatever comes out of it, comes out of it. And we definitely didn't be expecting to be setting top times or anything over the weekend. We said maybe come close to the end of the weekend that we might get somewhere close, and if we could, that'd be great. But if it didn't come, it didn't come. And yeah, it was just from the get-go, it was kind of just settled in pretty good. As you all probably saw, pretty shocked at the time on the first stage and whatever. But it was just us having fun, really, and just living the dream of driving the R5.
I know. And I mean, like, obviously, like, there were a few clips online or whatever we did. We were talking about that like, the reaction, like the shock on your face was absolutely priceless. But what actually was going through your mind at that moment, like, whenever you realised the time?
Well, we were laughing about it before the rally ever started. That, there'll be another Donegal interview, stage 1 interview again, and we were laughing and joking about it. And I said, look, Callum's going to be quick up there. The boys aren't going to be slow. The Barbel wasn't going to be slow up Miles Gap. None of them ever are. So we said, look, Jesus, if we could get up over it now with a half-decent time, we'd be right. But when we saw the time, we were genuinely completely shocked. We were only just saying it after crossing the finish line that we got left behind there. Like, it definitely wasn't a good run up, but obviously we did something right in a Saturday morning. But the setup obviously suited for them conditions and whatever, and we just kind of went on from there. It was a good start in a way for one thing, but yeah, we knew it wouldn't be that easy for the whole weekend. But yeah, we took it while we could.
And tell us, did that end up giving you more confidence at that point, where you were kind of like, jeepers, if I thought that was an awful run and that's the time I put in, I'm away here? Or did it kind of sort of frighten you and put you under a wee bit more pressure? What do you think happened then after that?
Well, if we're going by the times, it probably frightened me and put me clean backwards. But yeah, we just went down to Healy Pass, and Healy Pass isn't the stage that I particularly like, with all the slow stuff at the other side of it. The second half of it, just, I don't know, it's very hard to get into a flow there. But we came off that stage and we were quickest again by point something. Okay, we were probably on the right tyres for that, but there was a lot of other lads on the right tyres too, and we were still fastest. So I was like, right, the next two were going to be critical. We knew we had some bit of speed over Healy Pass, that you weren't going to get a huge chunk taken out of you the second time, but we didn't know what Cod's Head Groom would be like. They're two totally different stages to the rest of them. We just didn't know, and yeah, I suppose it started going all downhill really from the first run of Cod's Head.
And how do you pick yourself back up then? Because I mean, obviously the pace was there, like the times where, you know, as you said yourself, we were chatting backstage there, you know, the setup was kind of a huge thing. Like, and once you kind of got the setup right, you were away. So like, how did you keep yourself balanced then all weekend and kind of just keep your head in the game?
Like that, I probably said it in the podcast, we knew we were going to struggle. We'd have a setup for some stages, and where we tested, it wasn't as bumpy and jumpy as Agro and Cod's Head. And we had a very good setup there. The car was unbelievable by Melvin Evans. I didn't change one click on the test. It was literally a case of jump in and just drive it. And obviously going to Cod's Head Agro, we didn't change too much because it was still wet, and it was still, I thought the setup would have been okay, but just when we went into it, it was just the small little things that if I was in the escort, I'd be able to jump out and change a couple of clicks here, there, and everywhere, and I'd be able to get it somewhere right, and it'd be close enough, and you could go for a push. But I didn't even know where to start looking in this thing, and until we got back to service with Melvin and the boys, and we changed a couple of bits for the second loop, and that made it better. And we just kept working towards that. We had a small power issue then at the end of our groom the second time, and the start of Cod's hit, or the start of Kilmacalog, we actually had a pop-off valve issue. So we were just losing power, and I stalled off the start line of Kilmacalog going home Saturday evening. So it was just a letdown from getting, whatever you call it, shafted with that nominal time. And the first one, like I said, the whole way until Kilmacalog, it was just kind of twisting away from us a small bit. We were still enjoying it, and it was still good, but yeah, it was just we were just kind of keeping our heads down and making sure there was nothing stupid done. And yeah, that was kind of a different story then when we woke up Sunday morning. It just kind of started working a bit better again. We did a couple more setup changes Sunday morning to the car, suited us even better, and they just that time started clicking way easier then. And yeah, credit to Melvin's boys for getting us the setups. If there was someone in the car that could tell them what to do with the setups, they would have done it straight away. But I just couldn't tell them what was wrong, really. So it was probably the biggest thing, but I suppose that's what you get with experience in the cars and stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what we mentioned that, like, even last week we were chatting, like, just the experience of these R5 cars, like, that we know that with rallying anyway, that it's all about mileage and it's all seat time, but it truly just goes to show you, though, that it genuinely, like, you need to know the car inside and out, and you need to have the car on every type of surface and condition to know exactly what to do for each stage and each setup.
Yeah, definitely 100%, and it just showed that we were thereabouts with the boys when the conditions suited where we tested, and the car felt 100%, and when we went into the stage they were different. We were getting caught, and look, that's all part of it too. We kind of knew before we ever went there that we'd be kind of on the back foot that way, but then again, I didn't expect to be anywhere, even with the setups that we had that were good. I didn't think we'd be that close or trying to beat the boys, so it was good just to see that, really. Yeah,
and I mean, Rob, it genuinely must feel unbelievable, like, as a Kerry man, to be that close in Killarney. But not just that close in Killarney, but the fact that you haven't been in an R5 car in so long. Like, that must have just, regardless of everything else all weekend, like that, the joy and the crack we spoke about last week, that must have just been unbelievably at the forefront all weekend for yourself in the car.
Yeah, definitely. It really kicked off the second run of Miles Gap Sunday. It was the first time I really just grabbed the car. I drove it probably close enough to the quickest I can drive it up Miles Gap, and it just set a tone for us, really. We went into Ballapima the next stage, and it's a stage I hate. Everyone knows it. If they never ran it again, I'd probably be happy enough. But funny enough, after the first run I came out of it, and I was like, oh, that's not bad in this car. And the second run we did that, we said we'd give it a good crack, and we said a really good time, and took a nice chunk out of Barbel and Callum inside there. In a short stage, and that's really when we just said, right, we're enjoying this thing now. This is what it should feel like. And we went into Gorton again. We had the same thing going all the way until we had the mishap in the last stage. It just really clicked from there. That's right. This is how you enjoy it. Drive it as hard as you possibly can. And I thought I was doing as a good a job as I could. So no, we just really enjoyed it from there. We struggled a bit Saturday, I suppose, with setups and stuff, but we were still really enjoying it. But it just really clicked on Sunday morning, that second run up the gap. The two of us were laughing, crossing the finish line, going, that car is unreal. And it was worth every penny of it and every bit of sacrifice to do just that stage. If the rally finished then, I would have been happy no matter what the result was. But yeah, it was just class.
Unbelievable stuff. And obviously then, we hate to talk about it, but the bad luck did kick in then on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. Probably kicked in the first run of Gorton again. We went wide on a bus stop again, just got cut out on gravel stopping, just clipped the bank, and there was a bit of mud in the wheel. For the first run of Gorton again, went into the next stage. We had a class run, we were quickest on that again. Going into Gorton again, we were doing nothing different. We were just going, my whole mentality was, I have this car for another 2 stages, so we're just driving as quick as we can until we get to the end. Yeah, we were close enough. Rob Barble. It was nip and tuck there. I wasn't really too bothered about it. Second or third, it wasn't going to make a huge difference to me at the end of the day. But I just wanted to go fast. But just got caught out on a long right-hander that tightened at the end. Just they went up the bank ever so slightly. If there was 3 or 4 feet more, I probably would have been safe. But sure, that's all part of it. We didn't want to go out there and tip about the place and be nowhere at the end of the weekend. We wanted to go as hard as we could for as long as we could, and yeah, we got far enough with it, but obviously not close enough to the finish.
He's definitely did, and then as you said, like he made the tough decision then to just pull the pin. You know.
Yeah, look, there was something bent in the steering when we tipped the ditch. We obviously bent something, and we could have tipped the way through. I think we were still 4th overall. After we came out of the stage, we changed the puncher inside there, and we checked if we were going in the road section. We were actually still 4th, but look, I could have went into the last stage if something would have broke, and you could end up doing 10 times as much damage. So we just said, look, safe option now, bring the boys and put it into the trailer. We had a good weekend. We were going hard. We weren't going to be able to go hard in the last stage anyway. We just said the safer option, put it in the trailer and go home. Hard as it was to call it and not go into the last stage, but yeah, it was definitely the better choice.
It just goes to show you though that like the hard decision was made, but like when you get to a certain point, it doesn't, like you just, there's, you know, once the joy is kind of gone out of it, and like once the fear kind of steps in, and not the fear of any major accident or anything, but like the fear of kind of like, you know, just say wrecking the car and having to sort it out the following week and stuff. Like how, you know, was it the fact that the crack would have kind of been gone out of it at that point for you that actually made that decision?
Well, like I said, all we wanted to do was go hard, and we weren't going to be able to go hard the last day. We're going to go there just to drive through for what? For nothing.
Yeah.
It was just a safety decision. I just didn't want to end up with, like you say, wrecking the car for what? For a result that it didn't really matter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It was no odds to us. We just wanted to go hard for the weekend, and that's what we did. And we were happy enough to call it off while we were some way ahead. Maybe not fully ahead, but yeah. While the car was in some bit of a good shape that we could hand it back to Melvin and it wouldn't kill us. Yeah, we just said we'd head for the trailer.
Good on you. Definitely a hard decision, but like obviously a very very hard decision, but like it can be just the right choice at times. And tell us, how hard does it make it for you now to think about heading back to Australia, or to, you know, not get kind of sucked back into it and sort of want to just get an R5 car and finish the rest of the season? Or, you know, how do you now just leave it in Killarney, if you know what I mean?
I suppose the price of it is the one very easy way to put it. No, I'm just like that. It's just the price of it, and put my own escort together. That's still in the shade, not looking too great after Donegal last year. So it's just we'll just try and get that ball together and get things up and running there, and look. We'll see what comes up when that's back together and sitting there ready to go. Other than that, I'm not too bothered at the moment.
Good man. So clearly, like, just genuinely all for the traffic, which is so unbelievable to see, and so cool to see somebody jumping from kind of the both types of cars as well. You know, the older stuff, and the newer, like right up to date stuff. And in terms of heading back to the escort, like, in comparison now, where, like, do you have more crack in the escort, do you think, or was it just as much fun this weekend in the R5?
Look, it was just as much fun. There was no question about it. It was unbelievable, and I'm sure Jared said the same, that we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves no matter what the result was. I was still smiling coming in the road after tipping up on its side and whatever, but look, it's just all part of it. But yes, the escort is fun, and in fairness, all the modified guys, it's just pure good crack, and there was savage crack between all the boys in the R5 cars. It's pretty much the same. Once you're driving something as hard as you can, having a battle with someone, no matter who it is, and fighting a bit for time, having the crack with each other after the stage. That's what it's all about to me. The result didn't really bother me. To be fair, get my name on the Fisher Trophy for the quickest overall and the miles gap for the weekend was probably a nice touch. Something that I'd like to have ticked off at some stage anyway. So that's one ticked off the list. So I'm happy to go back to the escort and try and give the boys a hard time in Killarney whenever they do come about and make it hard for them to come down here. But yeah, it's just the crack of it. R5 or escort, once the crack is there and someone's going hard pushing you for a climb or a stage win, then that's all what it's really about.
That's the main thing. Well, listen, Rob, come here. Like, thanks a million for chatting to us. Like, that was unbelievable insight. Like, and such an interesting, comparison to go from the two different types of car and to not have been in an R5 in years and then to go in and do what you did on Saturday morning. Pretty impressive. Like, so we're all very, very grateful for the show you put on all weekend and for taking the time to chat to us and explain the whole crack at the weekend now. So again, just thanks a million for being with us and congratulations to you on an unbelievable weekend of driving.
Thanks very much, and hopefully it won't be long before we're out. So hopefully entertaining again, and hopefully it was a good weekend for everyone spectating. Maybe not the finish that everyone wanted. Yeah, that's all part of it, and we'll be out in the escort again hopefully enough, and we'll see you then.
There you go, Rob Duggan speaking with Tony Kelly. An unbelievable drive from Rob Duggan, it has to be said. And when you saw his reaction, chatting with Killian after stage one of onthepacenote.com, you just thought, wow, what a mad moment. And he genuinely was in shock. And look, moments like that is what it's all about. Tony also spoke to the winner of the Rally of the Lakes, Callum Devine.
To the Irish Rally podcast, and congratulations. We're delighted to have you here.
Thank you very much, Tony. Thank you very much for having me.
What a weekend. Hey, you must be just still on a high, are you?
Aye, look, we're happy now. Definitely I'm happy now from the weekend. It was a good weekend. A good weekend all around. Hey,
Nobody made it very easy for you at the same time, though. You had to work hard all weekend. I would say you're wrecked.
I worked hard all weekend, so we did. I'm definitely wrecked now, to be honest. I was sick before the rally, so I was doing my recce, and I must have got food poisoning or a bug or something, And I've always been sick and was sick most of all the recce, and stuff. So I was on the bed and just trying to get rested up. So it was a tough hard weekend that sort of way too, But no, we were happy enough to get through it too.
Jeez, Callum, to be fair, now I didn't realise that beforehand, and like that's a big. That's a big thing to kind of not be on point for the recce, like, and to kind of not get your prep done as well as you'd like it, and for you to be able to actually walk away with the win, then that's massive. Like, that's huge.
Aye, it definitely was tough now. Definitely put a big effort in. I kind of know we kind of don't know if we'll get the first day recce done, sort of thing. But no, thanks to Noel, he did. He looked after me nicely, him and Breda, when I was down, So, but no, it was good. It was good. It was good. It was grand. And I ended up, I was actually, when you look at it, I was happy it happened for the first day recce rather than any later, because. Yeah. At least it gives us many days to try and mend up, sort of thing, get rested up. But no, it's definitely been better if it didn't happen, to be honest.
Well, at the same time, it didn't seem to do you any harm. Like, it was just serious pace all weekend. Like, and I mean, I know, like, Rob Duggan came out of the traps on Saturday morning and just, like, blew everybody's mind, It was absolutely incredible. But you were never far away. Like, it was seconds here and there the whole bloody weekend. Like.
Yeah, it was good battling, and it was good to see Rob out there, obviously in the mix again, and yeah, it was tight racing, so it was tight racing. We kind of didn't know what to after. I remember when Rob, we went up the gap, we kind of went in the wrong tyre choice, and fair play to Rob, he put on a big time as expected to be up the gap and stuff. And I can't remember coming onto service, and as I say, the form wasn't good and it was the best. And I was thinking, this is going to be tight now to try and get this off, But yeah, thankfully we got the head down, and yeah, started to claw it back, So I was good racing. But
do you think it did take you in, genuinely with the bug and kind of the sickness on the run up to it, think that it did actually take you a few seconds or a few stages to bed in?
Probably was, as I say, like for the first day, like I was in bed right up to trying to get more sleep than anything. Do you know what I mean? So obviously being Moleskine in such a high speed first day opener, you know, you'd probably like to be up and at it a couple of hours before, you know, get yourself wakened up a bit. But for us, it was more trying to get as much rest as possible. Do you know what I mean? And get up and just try and get at the day, because we knew it was a big long day on Saturday. And yeah, in that way, probably rest was more key for me rather than trying to get up and drain yourself. I'll say getting your focus in. Do you know what I mean? You know, but yeah, it probably did take me a stage or two. You know, the wrong tires probably didn't help also. But as I say, once we got back into the swing of things, we were happy enough.
Really flying. And come here, all the stages in Killarney this year where like all the classics were there, and like they were just unreal. Like some of the footage I saw, you know, in fairness, it was only snippets on you know, on Twitter and stuff like that there, but like the pace was just serious. Like, and watching those classic stages, you must have had a ball the whole way through driving them.
No, that was class. I know, as I say, I had a good smile on my face when I got to Cod's Head and our groom stages. Like, they're top class stages. Fantastic. Don't get any better, to be honest. I don't think, like, anything for tarmac. They're the best in the country and best about. But no, we had some enjoyment, and like I say, that our groom stage is so relentless. Like, it's just corner after corner, and that goes on for 19 kilometers, and with the rain changing at one end and dry at one part, it was a tough challenge now. But I've really enjoyed it, to be honest.
And I mean, the conditions were nuts as well. So like the weather was just so all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. Saturday was really tough, you know. I don't think you would have had the perfect tire choice all the time, you know, because as I say, it's like going up a hilly pass. I think it was like one side it was dry, and then you go up over the top of the mountain and you come down the other side, there was fog, and then it was all rain. Do you know what I mean? And you hadn't the perfect tire for that. And as I say, you got to our groom stage, it was such a coastal stage, you know, that it was changing all the time. So you had bits it was wet and bits it was dry and bits the sun was starting to come out, you know, by the time you got round it, you know. But it was look, it's a real challenge, and that's all part of it too. You enjoy it, like.
It is, and I mean that's the thing too, Callum. Like the tires are the thing that everybody talks about constantly all weekend. Like, but it is such a constant make or break when it comes to rallying. Like, and particularly on stages like that are changing. Like when the actual kind of, I suppose the scenery changes, but essentially the weather's changing with the scenery, because you're going from the coast into the middle of mountains and stuff, and the weather is so unpredictable. Like, how do you get your head around? Because you're going to have to sacrifice something somewhere. So how do you make the decision as to where you sacrifice?
It was tough really, like, to be honest. As I say, some of them stages, you kind of want to go probably in harder in some of them stages because it's so abrasive down there as well. You kind of didn't want to sacrifice going yourself when it was too wet. So you probably want to go we kind of went for the option more of the slick tire and try and just sacrifice it when it was wet, you know, that sort of way, because obviously being so coastal, it doesn't take long for it to dry when the wind comes in. Do you know what I mean? And you could be out there and then you're really buggered then, sort of thing, if you went too soft an option. So it is. But yeah, you try to get as much advice and input as you could from everybody, plenty of locals, and then everybody stop places. What do you think it's going to be here? Like, so I remember it was just you were listening from all angles just to see if you could get the best tire choice, to be honest. And especially down that way, and when it changed so much.
You definitely need to be on the ball. And come here, we were chatting about the stages there, but any one in particular, or any kind of section of any one where you just were, this is me, the happiest I've ever been, like this is heaven here now?
Yeah, I would definitely say Cod's Head. The second time we came around it, we were on a medium slick tire, and the stage was bone dry, so it was just bone dry, the right tire and everything. And I remember we went into it, and it was class. Like, even coming down the back edge, you were going down alongside the water, you know, and it was just jumps around corners and jumps up a habray and stuff, and it was class. It was class now, to be honest. And no, I really enjoyed it. Really did enjoy it, to be fair, down there.
Unbelievable stuff. And to do it for the second time, Callum, that's like Killarney, you know, it's one of the most famous rallies, if not the most famous rally in the country. And to have your name on that trophy, like, would mean a lot. But to be able to do it 2 years in a row, like, that's not a lot of people can say that they've done that. Like,
no, that's right. To be fair, we knew it wouldn't be easy coming back. So yeah, look, we were happy, and especially for Noel. I think he's only carried Navigator to ever won it twice, you know, that sort of way. I think Paul Neagle was the only boy before him, which was in 2019. So it was good. It was brilliant for him, obviously, especially having been down there. But yeah, we were happy. We were happy now to get for the second time round, and sort of. It was good. It was good. It was like no fluke the first time, sort of thing, you know. So it was.
You've got that lovely kind of like validation now that you didn't need it, because when you win it, you win it. Like, it's no fluke anyway. But there's just a lovely feeling, I would imagine, when you have done it 2 years in a row, and it's just like nobody or nothing can take that away from you. Like,
yeah, exactly. So no, we were happy. We were happy.
And how do you reset now? So obviously there's a wee bit of a gap between now and Donegal. Like, what's your plans, championship wise? Like, obviously everything is all to play for now. It's just so kind of mixed this year, which is great. That we were saying it's great for us on the sidelines watching, but not as easy for you boys. But it must be making the rest of the season look very, very exciting for you.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely exciting with so many guys in the mix there. Like, and as I say, look, Robert Barable there was right in the battle there all weekend, and like he was gunning for a win there as well, and he didn't make it easy for us. And like, if he had won that event there, that'd been 4 different winners from 4 different starts. Like, so yeah, it's turned into a fantastic season that way. And it's actually quite good for everybody else too. It kind of leaves everybody still in the mix of one driver's not getting away with it. So yeah, look, it's I don't know exactly where we're in the championship. I know our first 2 rounds weren't so strong, so I think we kind of just need to try and keep the momentum and try and keep getting podiums now from now to the end, you know, because as I say, I think Josh is still he's still quite strong. I think he's never been out of the podium at all, sort of thing, all year. So look, that's just coming on to now a wee bit of break now before Donegal, so it is, and we'll need to get at it again there.
Exactly. Hey, and so how do you kind of prepare for that now, Callum? Do you sort of allow yourself to just chill out now for a week and forget about it, or are you just straight into Donegal prep and, you know, trying to get other events done in the preparation to Donegal as well?
Yeah, frankly, we have a wee bit of a break now, which it is good, because that was a busy month. April was a busy month. I think we had three rallies in April there, from the start, and then we had one in the middle with the national championship as well. But we'll take a break now. As I say, we prep the car ourselves up in the shed, so we'll not be off for too long, you know. So we'll make sure whatever the car needs now, we'll try and get that sorted, which is good. With a wee bit of break, and then I think we'll probably maybe do Cavan, which is the 29th of May. As I say, we'll do that, and that'll be good enough prep for us before Donegal, you know, just to keep us sharp, you know. And we'll not be long coming around.
And I would imagine with Donegal, it's the same plan. You're trying to get the hat-trick, I would think.
I'll definitely like to get to Donegal and see how you get on. Try and get to the end of day 3 anyway this time, right? So,
it's a big event in itself. Like, you know, those 3 days are intense. Like, but it's just, again, it's another one of those rallies where you absolutely just, you know, it's the same as Killarney in the sense that it means so much to people. To actually get their name on the trophy. So I would imagine that after having such a lovely run there this last wee while, that it just can't be far away from your head, you know, from your thoughts, like that, you know, thinking that this could be the third run now, and the good luck could continue. Like,
I hope so. No, as I say, Donegal's been an event. It was my first ever event, actually. I did it in the juniors. It was my first event in 2011, doing the juniors on it, like, and I've came right up through it now too. So yeah, we've had the pace now the last couple of years at it there, you know. But as I say, one thing and all, we just haven't got to the end yet. So no, it's been a good run. It's been a good run now in the Tarmac Championship. Yeah, we're expecting on else another tight battle in Donegal. Everybody seems to pick up the pace, and somebody seems to come out of the woodwork for it, you know, sort of way. They'll be fired in the mix, so it'll be another big battle again. You just have to reset for that one again, and just flat out again from where it go, you know, sort of thing. See how long it goes.
Well, that's it. That's the only way. And I mean, I mentioned luck there, and that's the thing about rallying, and particularly with Donegal, because of the 3 days. Like, you can have the pace. The pace can, and you've clearly got the pace. That's not questioned. But with days like that, where the stages are so tricky and interchangeable, and then obviously the length of the event itself of the 3 days, like, luck is kind of you just sort of have to have everything going for you on these big events. Clarny's the same, like.
Yeah, exactly. You do. Hey, you do. You have to even everything from tire choice too. If you make a wrong tire choice in Donegal, it's very hard to get it back. Like over these, it's 3 days, but if everybody was going to be gunning for it there, and just the pace is that hot, it's going to be hard to get it back. So you need to have a bit of luck as well too, and everything. Have all your dots and T's tied up, sort of thing, to make sure make sure you get the best run on it, as they say. So yeah, it'll be yeah. Hopefully we'll get a bit of luck this time round and have all our dots and T's lined up.
It'll be no bother to you. Hey, you boys are all keeping each other on your toes this year anyway, and you're making it bloody brilliant for us to watch. So come here. I know your time is very valuable this week, but we're very, very grateful to you for coming on. Hey, and again, congratulations to yourself and Noel. Absolutely excellent stuff all weekend. And just again, thank you for actually speaking to us this week and taking the time to explain what it's like to win the Clarny 2 years in a row, Callum.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tony. Thank you very much for having me. And
we'll be chatting to you soon, no doubt.
Well, hopefully. So
thanks, Callum.
Thank you.
There you go. That, of course, Callum Devine and Tony Kelly. So well done to Callum Devine and Noel O'Sullivan. Big shout out to Noel Senior as well, who has a good few Rally of the Lakes under his belt at this particular juncture. Very quickly, just to go through the Irish Tarmac Rally Championship, the points updates are there for the international section. I don't see them for the modifieds, historics, juniors, etc., etc. But Josh Moffat on 68 points, Callum Devine on 62, and Marion Evans 48. Robert Barble 44.5, and Johnny Greer 32. So yeah, all to play for. Very exciting championship. One of the most exciting that we've had for some time. We're going to bring in Mr. Dave Harrigan. How's things, sir?
Hi, Kevin. You all right?
Sure. Look, I'm flying it. I've been meaning to do this segment for a long, long time, and you guys take great pictures, but it's not always that simple to get you on a podcast for whatever reason. But the first thing I'll say is you look a little bit drier anyway than what you did when I saw you on Saturday on the Healy Pass.
I was going to say the same to yourself. You're a bit drier and warmer.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. And I suppose I bring up this segment because we've talked about marshals, timekeepers, and rightly so. But we haven't gone to, like you guys who stand out on the ditches week in, week out, to bring us some fabulous images, I have to say. And I think you have to be commended on that. And I bring you on here to pay due respect and due homage, I suppose, to what you guys have been doing for so long to give us those cracking images. And I suppose on that note, why do you do it? Plain and simple.
I do it with my dad. My dad is always taking photos at rallies. I suppose I grew up Donegal. Like one of my earliest memories is the smell of the Donegal rally program. Whenever you opened it up, that smell inside when it was wrapped in the plastic, and then that way, I always rallying was always in the house. Like we always went rallying, and my dad always took photos. But I took photos. I took his camera. He was good enough to give me his camera one time in Knockalla, and I think it sort of started from then. I pointed a camera at a rally car, and sort of that's why I do it. I wouldn't pick up a camera to take a photo of anything else. To be perfectly honest, like I don't take photos of my kids or nothing like that with the camera. It's do all that with the phone, but it's only rally cars that really interest me in it. But I suppose I like the policy. I think Irish rallying is fantastic. Like when you see what those guys are doing this weekend down through Ballacbeema and the lines that we're taking and the speed they're carrying, just to be able to publicize that some way and show that in some way is I get a thrill out of that. Like,
so I suppose just to paint a little picture for people who maybe wouldn't have seen you in those sort of conditions, I'd say a fair few have at this particular juncture. But what struck me was
so would they count to be fair.
Yeah, wouldn't be the beard ratting, but but no, in fairness, man, like all joking aside, right? You weren't far off Bear Grylls in terms of what you were like. So obviously kitted out from head to toe with your layers, more layers than an onion. But you've got this big backpack and what do you call it? 3 cameras in it? Heap of batteries and stuff.
Sorry, 3 cameras. Yeah, I actually weighed it yesterday because I knew you were going to bring it up, and it's 17 kilos with my laptop and everything in the backpack that I carry. So carry lights. Actually, that's most of it sitting behind, like sitting there drying that side of me. Sitting drying out. I always take it out of the bag to try and dry it out. So yeah, 3 cameras, 3 lenses, 4 flashes. All the stuff to make it all link together. Laptop usually, filters for the lenses. Yeah, and a couple of things to make it all work and upload to the FTP sites and stuff so that it's on the laptop as soon as you open it.
Yeah, and I suppose we say this in the sense that we're assuming that Dave Harrigan rocks up, parks the car, and just gets out. But you clocked up a fair few steps yourself trying to get the perfect spot, and obviously you move around a little bit in between the stages and stuff like that. But from where I saw you going back to that waterfall bridge, is a little bit of a walk, like, and that's where you ended up, I think, for the first particular run. So the question would be, like, what do you do to make sure that you're getting the best backdrop? You're obviously there quite early before a road closure even.
Well, we probably start the week before looking at videos, notes if we can. I suppose the boys that do the recce's, the boys that are driving the cars know where the jumps are, but we're doing them in a transit and we don't do them in a rally car. So we rely on notes to tell us where jumps are to a certain extent to get photos. And then we do a recce ourselves. We try and do it at the same time as the cars will be going through the stage, so we know where the sun is and all those sorts of things come into it. And then I suppose there's loads of spots that you can take photos, but taking photos safely is a big part of doing it as well too. That's 2 of the cameras I have are remote cameras, so you sit those out and I suppose you sit them where you wouldn't stand yourself, which is very beneficial. But we take a lot of different things into consideration compared to what the guys do in the recce with. It's where the sun is there phone signal to upload and to be able to distribute photos when you're distributing them to the people. We have to have internet 4G if possible, and how you get to your next location. You don't want to be stuck in the same place for the whole day if you have things noted down as to where you want to go next. So a lot of those things come into it. Yeah, there's quite a bit of prep in it and looking at maps and I suppose previous photos as well too. We try not to use other. We try not to go where other people go, but if you go somewhere, you want to try and get it from a different angle if at all possible. So. Yeah, there's a lot of prep into doing it.
Yeah, because I suppose more often than not, a lot of people might have the same idea, and sure, it could be like outside the Oscars where you see all the bibs there and people are taking the same shot. So I suppose to get there a little bit earlier or to maybe walk the couple of 100 yards, it does make the difference. But the other thing that is quite cool with what you do, and I've been the beneficiary of this, is how quickly you're able to turn around the images and get them online or get them to whoever is kind of in tune with you. Like
that's worked quite well. We offer it to the motor clubs that are running the events, Tarmac Championship, yourself, Rally Insight, and the likes of those, as well as the crews. It has worked. It has worked quite well. There's a whole lot of people use social media now to keep people up to speed with what they're doing and to be able to deliver. I suppose sometimes I'm able to have, if I'm in a quiet place with a good weather and can get the laptop out, I can have the photo to the person from the stage probably almost as soon as they finish it. I suppose if everything works well with connection wise and stuff like that, you can do stuff between cars coming. So that's a big part of that. That's the biggest challenge that I face, and it's a bit that I really like doing. Is getting that quick delivery And like I say, we offer it to the clubs. We give it to the clubs for nothing, because we just like to see sport being publicised as such, and if the clubs can avail of that, it makes a difference.
But yeah, it's done to like a professional standard as well. You know what I mean? And I suppose in line with that too.
I wouldn't say that, Kevin. It's more a hobby that's got drastically out of control, to be honest.
I know a little bit about that. Trust me, I know a lot about it actually. But what I was going to say was, I suppose, with you doing that, a big bugbear of mine is when people don't credit the source, be it an article, be it a video, and above all, and I'm not a photographer, but if an image is used, I think it's the basic amount of respect you can give a photographer is to literally tag their page when you're sharing it, or obviously name who the person is, preferably tag it, I suppose, if it's on social media. Does it piss you off a little bit?
It does. The biggest part of it would be people cropping photos. I put the watermark in the bottom corner. I don't like putting it up through the middle, just because I think it takes away from the photograph. But I wouldn't upload to the highest quality for that reason, that people do print them, but can't do it as much. But when I am uploading compared to what I send as a high res, but yeah, we have our watermark in the bottom corner. And yeah, when people crop them, it really annoys me. At least if it's left on, it's not too bad. But
yeah, and I look, as I said, I just think it's the base level of respect that anyone deserves. I think a lot of people are pretty good, but that's one message I would like to get out there tonight. Credit your sources, people. Do you know what? Above all, and it's not that you'd be going in heavy-handed, but it's actually illegal as well. There's a copyright issue there, and you know, people have this thing where, we should be able to use it, but you're not standing there getting fucking lashed over with rain piss now on top of you to take the photo. Not actually charging you for it this time around or whatever, because we're there for a club or X round. Just credit us. That's all we want. And it's not to tell you you're right, lad. It's just a little bit of respect. Like, it's kind of like a thing that you might only get from being in the game, but it is quite important, isn't it? In fairness, like.
Yeah, well, people just see it as a photograph, I suppose. But I suppose Galway last year, I had a camera sitting out and it got destroyed with the rain. I know there's a few other people who have issues with equipment sitting out, and that has to be replaced. You know, you have to. There's a cost involved in it, and just a credit is nice to get. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I think it's quite cool what yourself and your dad do. I mean, isn't it a great thing to be able to say, right, we'll go up and down the country and we're taking photos, we make a weekend of it, and you know, I mean, that is a great relationship to have. Like,
there's not many people can say they have. Yeah, it's brilliant to do. Like, it's great to have a something that we do together. And like you say, yeah, we're away from a weekend. We were away Thursday night to. Yeah, we can back up on Sunday. Actually, we were going to stay Sunday night, but we can back up on Sunday from Killarney there, and it was it's brilliant to be able to have that time, you know, and a shared interest. He was always into rally photography, you know, and did it for rally. So I sort of took it and it got a bit out of hand. Like I said, we're now all over the country doing it. So.
Yeah, and the other thing we should mention, in fairness, is, you know, the amount of time that you spend behind the scenes. So you told me it took, is it somewhere in the region of 7,000 photos the other day? So you're trying to whittle those down, obviously, maybe make an album out of it, of what you're happy with. And that takes a serious amount of time. No different, I suppose, to get one of these ready when we go live between 9 and 10 o'clock odd. That started days ago in terms of prep, and maybe chopping bits over will be the same. So I can kind of relate to that a little bit. I know what you're talking about. And that part isn't fun for me. I don't know what you think of it.
It's not the most fun, to be honest. The fun part's taking the photos, like, and delivering them. I'm working at the moment. I'm working through pre-orders from Killarney. They come first. People pre-order, and people that get the social media, they they get theirs. Maybe this is interrupted, but they might get them tonight, but it'll probably be tomorrow evening. And then you have I suppose there's lots of people contact you after an event. They come after that. So I'd say by the time I'm finished editing and the likes for, it'll probably be the weekend. I'd say that'll be every night this week probably. It's a downside. Like we deliver. Well, we take a lot of variation. For just two of us, my dad carries 2 cameras, I carry 3 cameras. That works out at a lot of photos when it comes to the end of it, and a lot of crap. Like you have a lot of pictures of roads throughout the country with nothing on them, just a picture of a road as you do your setup and stuff. So all those have to be deleted and got rid of, and all the rest. And there's all that filtering through of that has to be done, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. While frustrations do happen from time to time, that grow you get from doing something that you really do enjoy. There's nothing beats it, rain or no rain, wind or no wind. When you're in the moment, when you're taking your photograph or whatever, or maybe I had the phone out and I'm seeing 4 cars the one time on Healy Pass, literally nothing beats that. And it's a very hard thing to describe and put into words, but it's pretty special. No different to what it might be for the guys competing, I suppose. You know, everyone has their own little thing, but it just feels deadly. You know what I mean?
There's a buzz that comes out of it when you get a good photograph, especially when you get a good location and the weather's right and everything works. Like it's just it's a buzz. Yeah, definitely.
I tell you what, we're going to have to do, Dave, at some stage, right? Because obviously we're going to be finished up here now shortly. But like yourself and Seamus Coonan has been very good to the Irish Rally podcast, and many other photographers will actually get you on here the same as with the modified guys, and we get you to pick maybe 3 or 4 photos, because they say a picture paints 1,000 words, which it does, and I think that would be a pretty cool thing to do, and maybe to showcase as well, because the capability to do it is there. You know, I think that would be a nice thing if you're interested.
I mean, honestly, yeah, it would. I don't know. It might not fit in here. We might end up talking about cameras and rules of thirds and all that sort of shit.
We'll go all nerdy on it. Yeah,
that we obsess over and no one else is interested in. But sure.
Yeah. But sure, look, they're all the fundamentals that make the whole thing what it is. But look, Dave, we'll leave it at that. Thanks a million for not just coming on tonight, but the photos. They're epic, and keep up the good work to yourself and Papa Bear there as well. All right.
Cheers. Thanks for having us on, Kevin.
Thanks, man. Mind yourself. All the best. Dave Harrigan there for the Harrigan images. So we'll get to a couple of comments just before we wrap it up, and a good few of them have come in and just a little bit slow in getting to them. So sorry. Shane O'Mahony, that man could drive the gap blindfolded. I'd say Dave Harrigan have a good go at it, but I think he means Rob Duggan. Pat Mullen says it's great to hear from behind the wheel. Yeah, in relation to the guys a bit earlier. Gerard Middleton looking forward to the Twin Cam Challenge at the Heartlands Rally in Laois. Yes, indeed. The June Bank Holiday weekend in a couple of weeks' time. Of course, you have Tipperary Forestry as well. And obviously, Cavan coming up at the end of the month. And another BRC round actually at the end of the month also. Dennis Rinn, great show, Kevin. Fantastic here from all the lads competing in Clarny. Keep it going for the rest of the year. We'll try our best. Tiresome at times, I won't lie, but we'll try our best. Connor Carlisle says great podcast tonight. Thanks, Connor. Eddie Doherty says great stuff, Tony. And that's just about it, I suppose. Just to say a big shout once more to SVS Productions, to Rally Connection, to PFT Travel, and Tech and Tools and Murray Motorsport. The latter two there, if you go onto the website and use the promo code Irish Rally Podcast, there is 10% off on a wide variety of products there. So look, my thanks once more to all our guests that were with us here this evening, to Tony Kelly, of course, who spoke with some of those guests, to Dave Harrigan, and to all the listeners and viewers who comment in droves there and tune in every week. We really, really appreciate it. So that's where we leave it on this edition of the Irish Rally Podcast, and we'll chat to you again very, very soon.